Hello, everybody. My name is Puffteen from the Geeky Puppet Show here on the Geeky Puppet Show, and I know we have a lot of readings, but we are a review channel, and a new series has just dropped, Halo, based off of the very, very successful video game. I can't say I ever played it, but I know somebody who has played at least some of them. Froggy!
Hey, how's it going? Oh, God, you're frozen. But anyway, yeah, for those who don't know, Halo is actually made by Bungie for Microsoft. They like take on Xbox, original Xbox, and it's been going through. They're on Halo 6 now. There's been quite a few games. Halo is a story of Master Chief, and armed with an AI named Cortana, he takes on the alien Covenant because he basically Covenants. The aliens want to basically dominate the universe, and Master Chief is pretty much like Rambo going and just killing them. That's why they call in this series, and I really piped in this episode, when the alien Covenant calls him, says demon, because they fear him because they can't kill him. Master Chief, as you saw, well, they really showed it in the first episode, but they lightly touched on it. Master Chief was basically selected by a bunch of kids in the program, the game. He's the only one to survive the process to be engineered or basically be adapted with chemicals and all stuff through this experimentation so he can wear the Spartan suit. So that being said, the show is a little bit different. It's as far as the game is.
They're starting quite a bit different because there are quite a few Spartans.
Well, yes, there is other Spartans in the game series. Master Chief was always the prominent. He was the first one. He was the most successful one. He was their A game.
The Alpha.
Yes, and he was never really controlled by the military. He worked with them, but he was never like like in the series here. They show like, oh, well, if Master Chief isn't with us, he's against us. Blah blah blah. Master Chief doesn't work for the government. He helps them out. He's an experiment. There are other Spartans, yes, and I guess the big thing different is that they were different. These people didn't go through the same thing that he did. They just had access to armor, as far as I can tell. Yeah, there's that one girl in there, basically, the blonde here. I forgot her name is, but
the doctor.
The doctor, basically, she was in charge of these experiments. She was never involved with the military at all. She pretty much was kept a secret. She basically, and you find out towards the end of I believe the fourth game, that Cortana was based off of her image, the AI construct. So yeah, I gotta say though, didn't really watch anybody else reviews in here. I know those people weren't some people weren't happy with this, but I'd say, man, when the Spartans showed up in the little village, did the superhero landings, and they were just taking them out. I love the way that the aliens actually look like the video game aliens. Master Chief looks like Master Chief. My only gripe with this show so far is the fact that, well, he took off his helmet. In the games, you never saw his face. If you ever saw he took his helmet up, you saw the back of his head, and that was it. It's kind of like the Mandalorian thing. You never saw him. The other thing is the voice. The voice, which I can work with, because you're not going to pay the original guy from Master Chief voice to come in and do the acting. Obviously, they're going with a different direction. They want to show Master Chief face. They want to show more expression. But, yeah.
And the other guy is very old.
Yeah. So.
But when we watch this series, it's funny you brought up the Mandalorian, because I almost jokingly put in the Halo-lorian, because this is a lot like if Baby Yoda was a teenage Asian girl.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they go into this village, like Froggy says, and they are fighting the aliens, but the aliens are already there, and they have been killing countless lives in that village. Actually, it is counted. It's 149 deaths. They weren't survivors. Only this girl was a survivor.
Yes,
and so
point out is that what they're doing, they're adding to the story to this. They're adding a new story. her apparently the I forget what the military is called, but there's people who are upset with it because basically it's like almost like they don't trust the military. The military is taking over everything. It's almost like martial law for the planet or the settlements. So her father, I forgot what the girl's name is, but her father was leading a resistance. They wanted a small plot. They would nothing to do with the military. They don't trust them. Yeah. So her being a survivor, and then immediately because her father, she's Master Chief when he gets orders and rescued her. They were going to use her for propaganda, saying, "Look, the aliens are real, and the Spartans are really here to help you. You should back them, colonies." And she's like, "Dude, my father just died. He was murdered.
Yeah,
and you're trying to use me." So I understand her plight. That's a dick move, but then you find out that the military is really that bad, and this is why I have a problem with the series because the military was never like that in the games. But then again, they never really focused on the military as much. They focused more on Master Chief. But there were times in the series where Master Chief did not agree with them, and he went a different direction. And he went up because he was dealing with other things from Cortana working together. So he broke away. But yes, there were other Spartans. Halo Reach is one of the games you get to play as the other Spartan teams. But Master Chief was always like the number one. He's like Superman. The rest of them were trying to be like him. They looked up to him. So that they kept that in the respect here, him being the commander.
We have an MK in the audience, and he's saying if someone doesn't know the novels or the games, it can be enjoyable. That's what he imagines. Yeah. But if you know the material that it's coming from, it can be a disappointment. And the Mask Off is off source.
So, that's what I said. I played the games, and the series doesn't really tick me off as much as other people, I guess. Curious? It's a different thing, they're gonna explore more about the history of Master Chief, which they've literally done in the movies. The novels I never really cared to read because it's a video game. Why do we care about a novel? I just want to play the game, shoot aliens.
Well, I do have to say that the show, I can understand why some people would have a problem with the looks of the things. Yes, they do look like aliens, and they might look like their counterparts from the games, but the CGI is a little rough in places.
I disagree. The CGI look pretty good. Now, if you're pausing, anything's going to look bad. If you're pausing things, try to take a photo.
I meant more whenever they're in the first-person perspective.
When they show the aliens going and slamming people,
yeah,
looked fine. When he lifted the guy up, looked fine. Like I said, I didn't see the flaws that other people are looking at. If you're looking for flaws in a show, of course you're going to see them because you're looking for things to bitch about.
Well, I'm not looking for things.
I'm just saying there are.
But here is one thing to bitch about. Dr. Miranda Keys was the one sent to talk to Quan to try to convince her to fuel their propaganda machine. But she herself looks like a child. She looks like a preteen, if not an early
she's probably 19 or 20 years old. They served the
Yeah.
military.
She doesn't look like that. She looks like a kid.
No, she doesn't. The one that's the daughter of the general?
Yes.
No, she does not look like a kid. She looks like she's 20, 22. She just looks that way because everyone else is like 3 times older than her.
Well, I mean, Quan is also young, but Quan looked older than her, so.
No, they look exactly the same. It's the way it is. She doesn't look 17. There also are people and actors who actually do look younger than they are.
I understand that.
But I have no problem with that because you know what? She's a new recruit. Her dad is the thing, and her mom's apparently the doctor.
Yeah. But whenever she was talking to Quan, even afterwards, I just do not like her style of acting with them. And maybe it's the writing. It could be the writing because she was giving these weird smiles whenever she's trying to convince Quan, "Oh, your family's dead."
No, the reason she was doing it because she was nervous. She basically was they wanted her to convince somebody out of her, it wasn't, she didn't want to do it. So, and she doesn't know how it's awkward. So she was trying to. That's why she get the awkward smiles, because she was basically doing something against her moral judgment.
Well, then they should have gotten somebody else to do it.
Actually, I thought it was right. I just think that you just don't like things.
MK says the FPS view was cool. Okay, I'm glad you feel that way. The show does seem bloodier. Yeah, when that first kid just got blown off, one of Quan's friends, I was like, "Whoa!" Just blood and guts everywhere.
In the game, the game is like that too. You go in there, you see the arms blown off, the soldiers and stuff. They're laying there. Yeah, they're cannon fodder.
So ultimately, Master Chief is given an order to execute the girl because she will not comply with, the Federation.
She's a liability because she was there, and she's basically she can spoil their narrative.
Yeah, and so they're just ordering her death, but Master Chief has touched an artifact on the planet where they picked up Quan.
That's the thing. Yeah, he went in there. He found an artifact, and the artifact started jogging memories. And he basically, Master Chief, the series are saying they erased his memories as a kid. He was a normal kid, and they took him into the program and they erased his memories. Now, not to say we don't know if he actually is a clone. We don't know about that, because usually when people try to erase memories, it's because they have a past life. Now they could go in two routes. They could say, yeah, he was engineered and have somebody else's implanted memories, kind of like how replicants have in Blade Runner, or they just erase his memories, because because they want to control him 100%. So the fact that he's remembering after touching that alien artifact that the Covenant was after, really worries them, as far as the generals stuff, because they want to control him. They know if they can't control him, it's like Superman. They want their weapon 100%, and the military wants 100% control. So that's right there shows me like, wow, they're really turning this into a totalitarian government.
Yeah, that's absolutely what they are. But other than that, Quan and Master Chief, they have some struggles, but ultimately Master Chief does take off his helmet and say, "You need to trust me. I'm trying to save you," because he's wrecking with his ship. So that way, the government can't control it anymore.
Yeah, because what happened is that the military decided, you know what, if we can't control Chief, he's not going to kill her. You disable the cameras. Well, we're gonna vent the oxygen there to knock them out. And they don't care if it kills the girl. Chief will survive. But Master Chief wakes up and he basically goes into the panel on the floor and manually overrides and restores the oxygen. And what they do is they're like, well, you need to shoot him out of the sky. I'm like, dude, it's freaking the way that he is compared to everybody else, it's like you're gonna piss off a Kryptonian god. Imagine you do that. DC Comics.
Shoot him out of the sky.
Yeah. So he basically they need to restore control because they're getting ready to land on Earth, I guess. And all the Marines are out there too. And what he ends up doing is he has an idea. He's desperate, touches the artifact because the ship had lost power due to electromagnetic pulse they fired at the ship when it got into landing gear mode on the surface, and he touched the artifact. Artifact restored the power on the ship. We're not sure how. We're just saying, trust the science, bro. Magic. I don't know. And so he's able to fly off with her, and that's how basically it ends. Him leaving. But what's really pointing out is that the doctor and scientist, she trusts Chief, and she's really intrigued the fact that he's got his memories back and stuff. So it's really her being a scientist. It's really cool, and also because she wants
to see what this artifact can do, what it's all about.
Yeah. The other thing is that she sent the other 3 Spartans that originally with help that Silver Team to help them out. She says, "Yeah, they have. If anybody decides they're going to harm Master Chief, you blow their freaking heads off." And they're like, yep. Dude, they're with Chief all the way because they're loyal, and also because why would you trust a bureaucrat over people who serve with you? If you're in the field time and you're basically expendable, you're gonna help your fellow soldier.
Yeah. Ultimately,
Howard.
I don't think this was horrible. I don't. It wasn't like it was the best show of my night or anything. We still have Kung Fu to talk about it a little bit.
It's also the first episode.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of going into it. There's still world building.
Yeah. So ultimately, we're going to continue this, obviously, but it wasn't bad. And anybody who tries to tell you that, oh, this is garbage, they've, I don't think it's fair. Ah! Are you Cortana now?
I touched an artifact. Now I'm glowing.
Ah! Anyway, that's about it. Ultimately, like we said, we'll continue, see how it goes. It wasn't horrible, but I don't think it was great. I think it was okay. Now Froggy is saying in my mind through his very lit skin to make sure to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to check out the other streams tonight. We have Kung Fu coming up, and we also have another reading tonight. So be there for that. All right, Froggy. Is anything else to say?
No, that's about it.
Okay.
Another glowing review from the Puppeteen and the Frog.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye! Eat it, Joe.